Hello everyone and welcome to another discussion. I'm Jammer, today joined by Shima.
Hello!
So, Pokemon had their big, huge direct blowout yesterday. A lot of people were actually kind of underwhelmed because not much was even shown off about the 7th generation. But that also just leaves a lot of room for us to just totally speculate and talk about and just totally fanboy over. So let's first just get, yesterday I did all my initial impressions, stuff like that, but I'd love to hear your raw reaction to it before we get all deep into it. So what are your thoughts?
Well, again, I was also pretty underwhelmed. We did get a glimpse of that new bird Pokemon. A lot of people thought it was going to be a hummingbird, but to me it kind of looks like a woodpecker.
Yeah, same. A lot of people also have been saying, I think, that this could potentially be this generation's version of like the starter bird, such as like the Pidgey or the Sparrow and stuff.
That's what it looks like to me. I'm excited to see what they're going to do for the Legendaries, or if they're going to use the already themed Moon and Sun Pokemon.
Oh, you know what? Okay, it has to happen. Lunatone and Solrock, they have to get Mega Evolutions. Let's just get that out of the way.
Let's just hope that they look awesome and not really derpy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you can go either way.
And yes, also, it definitely is really interesting, especially with those two Pokemon already being there, and they're not even legendaries for that matter either. So then, usually the legendary, like the figurehead Pokemon for each version, are kind of themed to whatever the names of each games are respectively. Usually, anyways, I say. So it's gonna be kind of interesting having two Moon Pokemon and two Sun, or maybe they'll differentiate them somehow.
I know they already have Moon-themed Pokemon. They have a lot of Moon-themed Pokemon, surprisingly. You're probably going to be able to catch a lot of Moon-themed Pokemon in the new one, like Umbreon and,
don't the Clefairy, don't they dance around the moon?
Yeah, Clefairy. They're considered space aliens, I think. I remember watching a Pokemon episode where they were in a spaceship.
Oh, yeah. That was great. So one thing I definitely want to talk about first is, let's talk about just the overall area. So they did show off some screenshots of some concept art of the area. There were this one fountain area that kind of looked like a hotel. People have been speculating that it might be Singapore, and there's also some pictures of like Jeeps and what the new Pokemon Center is going to look like. So what are your thoughts on that kind of stuff?
It might be some type of South America or Hispanic themed or Latino themed area, maybe even Spain. Probably some jungle coastal region if they have the Jeeps. You'll probably actually be able to drive a car in this one.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, there's probably going to be, of course, new features in this game. And do you think, with all the emphasis on, because there was multiple vehicles in that concept art. There was a Jeep, there was a fire truck, there was an ambulance.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon Grand Theft Auto.
Pretty much. So it's not like cars have not existed in the Pokemon world. Like we've seen, for example, where you originally catch Mew, it's underneath that van. So it's not like cars are completely unheard of, but in this,
it's just that you're a 10-year-old kid and you don't have a license.
True. But to the point I wanted to make is I don't think we've ever seen it in this volume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's been cars, but never enough to seem like a heavily populated area. So perhaps this maybe can be more centered towards around a more busy, bustling city, or maybe have a specific region of that caliber. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's going to change how the game works with, I remember there was the bike highway. Do you think they're just going to actually have a real highway and you have to dodge cars?
Frogger style.
Pretty much.
They might actually do that. I do think, though, it might be, because I know this is kind of hating on Nintendo, but they take a while to innovate, but I know they're probably going to do some new stuff for the 20th anniversary, because this is the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, so they're probably going to have a lot of new features and events that are going to be vastly different than the previous games, because X and Y was 3D game that we had for handhold, and with the Pokemon Battle game, which looks really, really nice, and the old GameCube games, the handhelds they now have their own 3D format, right. So seeing how they update that and everything will be good.
So yeah, speaking of 3D, we've been so accustomed to the fact of our handheld Pokemon games being always a top-down adventure where you're basically moving around and watching your character walk around. I know they did incorporate in X and Y more like close to the street, like
Over the shoulder.
Yeah, camera angles, stuff like that. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because also in one of the screenshots, or excuse me, concept arts, I keep calling them that. One of the concept arts did show the Pokemon Center, and it did show some turnarounds of it. Now, I know for like art, like concept design and whatnot, like for the coders, they need to know like kind of the dimensions of how big this building is going to be when they, make it. So I mean, in that sense, it does make sense to like at least grasp like the exact depth of it. But could it be possible that you could actually actually change your camera freely in this new game in the overworld?
Well, in the other games, you did have in some areas the over-the-shoulder look, like in the city areas, not really too much out in the
roads and stuff. Yeah.
The wilderness. Like you would get like a few seconds of it, but it would always move gradually to top down. They may actually have it to be over the shoulder, but for keeping with the Pokemon games, they might just keep it top down because it allows you to see more.
Right. Keeping with tradition, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does make sense, of course, but I think it would be kind of really interesting to, as you said, mix it with the formula and, give it a change, I guess,
Yeah. So.
But I think it's really interesting about that fact. And then you did bring this up and we kind of just brushed over it. But you said travel by car. Now that'd be really interesting too, because how about before you actually even get Fly and the bike for that matter, what if perhaps there's a taxi system or maybe perhaps even a train that you can ride back and forth? Because I know they've had before public transit, but maybe not specific to certain areas,
Yeah, like just having it wherever. That would be a godsend for when you're like, okay, I'm done grinding, and now I have to go all the way back.
Hello, Uber. Hello, Uber. I'd like you to come pick me up at Route 113.
Totally.
Be sure to bring snacks and bottled water.
I haven't eaten in days, man. I've been out in the woods.
Matter of fact, bring a max repel while you're at it, because seriously, the encounter rate is unreal here. No, but that'd be really... Yeah, that'd be...
Shiny hunting.
Yeah, shiny hunting. Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, that'd be actually kind of cool, because they did have the was it called the Pokewalker in, was it Heart Gold? No, it was Emerald. Wasn't it Emerald where you could call people and then revisit to do Pokemon battles?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so you could, after you met someone, you got them in your contacts, and you could, call them back and, revisit a Pokemon battle. Maybe that was Gold, I can't remember. It was one of the two. But anyways, maybe they could actually build on the fact of that, whatever device they used for this version, and maybe actually be able to call a taxi and or an Uber in a sense.
Trying to think, because they didn't give us too much to work with, so I know it's mostly they are trying to keep a tight lip. I am curious to see how they're going to incorporate this into the new movies and animated show.
Oh, well, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah,
but the new Legendaries I'm excited to see.
Yeah, so that's what throws off a lot of people. So with the when they unveiled the X and Y, if I recall correctly, anyways, it was a similar short presentation, probably not as short as this one, but they did at least show off the starters and at least the figurehead legendaries.
Yeah.
And it is really interesting to the fact that for these games, we didn't see anything besides our wireframe. Yeah.
Yeah. It may be because they're trying to keep it as secret and they're probably still working on it, and maybe they haven't decided what they want yet. For those, they probably have a lot of stuff done and maybe haven't decided what concept they're gonna want to go with the Pokemon Legendaries.
Yeah, I think
or they're revamping some old ones into the new ones.
Yeah, I was under the same impression. I was thinking that their probably designs weren't completely finalized just yet. They're still in a work in progress, probably. And also, so they did never in the presentation itself. Actually, I don't think they actually did declare this as a 3DS game, but later after the presentation they actually did say it will, there was pre-orders opening for the 3DS. But another rumor that's been going around is speculating that perhaps this game could also be cross-released on the NX if it does have a mobile component. So that'd be really interesting as well, to the fact that maybe that's also why they didn't show off gameplay, because perhaps it would be also leaking how
spoiling
exactly how the NX could potentially work. That's just a total rumor. It's definitely coming to 3DS. The pre-orders say on the case 3DS, but it would be really interesting. And another thing that actually does add to that thought will be to the fact that when they talked about how the Pokebank will be you can transfer your Gen 1 Virtual Console Pokemon to Sun and Moon, but you can only transfer it to Sun and Moon and not X, Y, and the Hoenn remakes.
Yeah, so I'm just a little worried about that
Mhm.
because I like being able to swap my Pokemon through my 2 games once I've beaten them.
Yeah.
But I also, from back on Game Boy and transferring Pokemon from back on Game Boy, if you have all of them,
Mhm.
if any of you know this, you can only transfer about like a few Pokemon at a time,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a pain in the ass.
It's cumbersome, yeah. So I almost... This might actually lead me to believe that the reason maybe this is happening is because perhaps Sun and Moon, like, I was under the impression if they're going to make a new Pokemon game or another Pokemon game for the 3DS, it would probably be under the same engine as X and Y and, of course, Omega and Alpha Sapphire. So perhaps because that it kind of shows that they're not compatible as far as we know now, maybe that this Pokemon game will be in a brand new engine, thus even more crediting to the fact that an NX release of this game could be a thing, you know?
Yeah, impending anyway. Or it may just be because of the 20th anniversary they decided we're gonna upgrade a bit, but for Pokemon innovation it's a very slow process.
Yeah.
For Pokemon at least. But with the if it's cross compatible with the new gen, that will be really interesting to see.
Oh, definitely, very. I actually, you know, at first what I thought was going to happen was Sun was going to be for 3DS and Moon was going to be for NX, but I already saw some pre-orders for Moon on the 3DS, so that kind of nixed that theory.
I'm also curious to see, because if you know how the Pokebank costs money, I'm wondering if they may for Moon and Sun, if they may have that be a free thing for the Virtual Console.
The Pokebank
crossover?
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still said that there's a yearly subscription or whatever, at least in the trailer, so I don't know if that would necessarily happen, but there's always hoping, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, so as being a formidable Pokemon veteran, I would love to hear just what you would want to see in this new generation. We've been talking about what we think's going to happen, but like with the changes from X and like what would you want to improve on? What would you want to see added to the series?
Well, they did improve a lot in X and Omega and Sapphire, having the 3D format and a little bit more of the feel of an open world, but I would like to have that little bit more open world concept. And also, I know they're probably scraping the bottom of the barrel with some of the Pokemon ideas, but trying to avoid having an ice cream cone and a cotton candy ball be a Pokemon.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's still plenty of animals to do, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a lot that they haven't actually delved into.
Right, and they can even do variants in the same area. Like, they don't have to do just one bear Pokemon. They can do black bear, polar bear, grizzly bear,
Yeah.
omega bear. I don't know, you know?
So, another thing is, well, I do like how they have, you're able to get multiple starters, or at least the opposite of your starter at the end of the game that they had in X, because in other games, unless you're trading, it's almost impossible to get them.
Yeah, you're stuck with just the one, yep.
What I would like to see is having them bring back the kind of mild chat feature in the trading. Because when you're trading with someone who isn't a friend and you can't use chat, you can't tell somebody, no, I don't want that Pokemon. No, I don't want that Pokemon. And they keep offering it to you. Or you're like, no, I want that one. I want that one. As they, proceed to pull it out of the trade because they think you don't want it.
Yeah, wow.
I miss having that in the, I think it was Diamond and Pearl.
That
they had it in. And I missed that feature because I would be online trading and unable to communicate what I want other than catching a bunch of fodder Pokemon and naming them like, no please, yes please, want that, need this.
For communication purposes, that's a little cumbersome.
I had an entire box full of just Pokemon with names for communication for trading.
Oh my goodness.
And if anyone who does mass trading will know this pain.
That's an oversight that's really, I can't believe they kind of looked over a feature like such as that. I mean, that seems pretty simple to incorporate anyways, right? You would think.
Yeah, it was a pretty simple feature, and they had it, and then they got rid of it in X and Y, and I was just internally screaming every time I traded because I couldn't communicate at all.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's pretty annoying. So, they did introduce, of course, the Mega Evolutions, then brought those to the next one. Of course, they're going to bring Mega Evolutions back. But what I want to ask is, they did introduce the Primal Evolutions. Now, I really actually don't understand how those work, or how they even are incorporated in the story. But do you think there's going to be more Primal Evolutions, or maybe explain what those are in difference to Mega?
So Primal Evolution, from what I've seen, is legendary exclusive. So it's basically more powered up legendary. So currently we only have 3 of them, but they may be going back through some of the older ones like Lugia, the birds, Entei, the dogs, maybe even Ho-Oh. They might be giving them Primal Evolutions as well, and maybe even the new Legendaries as a thing to show off Primal Evolutions. But because Mega Evolutions are a big thing and they're really popular now, they will be probably bringing those over with more Legendaries.
Yeah.
As for Mega, I would like to see some more starter Megas like Typhlosion or Feraligatr, because those are 2 really awesome Pokemon. I am a little sad though that Charizard's the only one that has Charizard and Mewtwo are the only ones that have 2 separate Megas.
That's actually a good point to bring up. Are they going to stick with the 2? How is that going to be incorporated? Will Moon have one evolution and Sun have the other? Are they going to continue with the 2 Mega Evolutions? What are your thoughts on that?
It may be that you have to find the 2 separate stones in the game. You may be able to get both the stones, that, or you won't be able to get any at all for those 2, and you'll just have the default Mega, which would be the defense for Mewtwo and the blue Charizard, the blue and black Charizard.
So they kind of are basically picking one essentially, and if you ever want the other, you'd actually have to play X and Y to get that, or X or Y to get the specific stone.
Yeah, that, or actually you can't even trade over the stone through the Pokebank, so they'd have to have some way to trade it over, because unless they do what they did with X and Y and have the 2 separate stones in the 2 separate games, there's going to be no way to have the 2 separate Megas. Yeah,
and it's not like they can just completely drop these characters. I mean, there was time put into them. They developed their stats, and I know fans would be really upset at the fact that
those are the 2 most popular Megas.
Exactly, yeah.
Mostly Charizard. Charizard's one of the most popular.
So why would they? They couldn't just choose one and then completely just drop the other. They have to incorporate it somehow. But at this point, I'm not really sure how or how they'll go about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's talk about another feature that I've heard people talk about and I've been thinking about as well. Back in Gen 2, when they let you revisit Kanto, that was unreal. And how cool would it be for the 20th anniversary, when this new game comes out, they'll incorporate that again into this game?
I hope, if it is next gen, they may be able to expand the world a bit more. Hopefully, they'll be able to let us go back through all the previous regions to be able to fill the Pokedex and be able to fight. And I would like, in the new gen, to be able to go from Kanto to Hoenn and Johto and be able to compete in all of the Pokemon leagues there, and then jump over to the Pokemon contests, and then maybe they have an Ultra League where if you have beaten all of the previous leagues and gotten all of the badges, that's when you're able to go into the Ultra League.
That's super pipe dream. That would be so awesome. I don't know how realistic that would be for this game anyways, but that would be someday.
Future.
Yeah, that'd be so freaking cool. Maybe the 30th anniversary.
Yeah,
but no,
maybe.
So if you had to at least just pick one region, what do you think would make the most sense, or what did you just want the most to be one that you could turn to in this game?
Well, I'm a classic girl, so I'd have to say Kanto.
Of course. And that would make a ton of sense for the 20th anniversary, right?
Yeah, a little bit of a throwback.
Yeah, I'm actually in total agreement. For a while, I was thinking, well, what if they just returned back to Hoenn because they already have it created in 3D, because with the Omega and Alpha Sapphire, so it would make sense. But then I'm like, okay, well, that game just came out hardly a year ago, maybe 2 years. Yeah, it just came out recently. But so it's I don't think that would make much sense. But with this 25th anniversary and relying on nostalgia, yeah, going back to the first, even though we've already gone back to it in that second game, screw it, let's just go back again. It's worth it.
We are returning. Another thing that I would like to have is, like in when we were able to go back, to be able to fight Red again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that was a bunch of conspiracy theories in a nutshell when you would go to fight him.
Yeah, and there was also some concept art. I mean, at the fountain scene in front of the hotel, there was a picture of what was supposedly be a trainer, and what the thing was, it looks almost like in the clothing of Red. It's probably not Red. It was probably just like in there just as placement.
Random NPC.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to signify the player character. That's obvious in that fact, but obviously that's not going to be the final design of what your trainer is going to look like, nor does it mean that Red's going to be in this game, or hint to the fact that, you'll be able to fight him for that matter. But I mean, it's just interesting the fact that's what they chose as their default drawing for the trainer.
Speaking of the player character, I do kind of miss the customization feature that they had.
Yes.
X and Y.
Yes, that is unreal that wasn't. I forgot that was not in Omega and Alpha Sapphire. Yeah, of course that's coming back, right?
Hopefully, because it was, even though, like, I just thought it was funny because I would have to decide between buying potions for my very, very injured Pokemon, or that new dress in the very, very fancy boutique downtown.
Well, remember the good old saying, fashion over function every day.
Sorry, Pikachu. I know you have a broken leg and a torn off ear, but I really want that new dress.
I just have to have it. Yeah, so they should definitely, they have to bring back customization, because that was like a huge feature of X, which I can't believe I actually forgot about. But I think they really need to build on it, because what were you able to equip? It was like hats and clothes, and was it limited to just those?
Boots, hats, or more head accessories, and clothes, and a bag. I kind of wish that it went a little bit farther, a little bit more, not Grand Theft Auto, more Saints Row, where you could, wear, I wish you could kind of cross-dress, but not really, but being able to wear, because I'm not a dress person, but my character wore a dress, so I'm like, oh, well, at least I feel pretty. But I would like my character to be able to wear, like, a, kind of dude's t-shirt with pants, or to have it not be gender exclusive.
And I just a quick question. In X, were you actually able to customize the appearance of your trainer itself?
Yes, you're able to choose your eye color, your skin, and your hair. And then you could go to the boutique downtown and get some of those changed. Can you
do skin color? Is that what not even an option? Okay.
You could do skin color as well.
So do you think there's any features they should try to add to that? Maybe more facial,
Maybe a few more facial features, a little bit more variety in the skin tones, because you only had like 3 to work from.
Yeah, some facial hair options.
Well, I don't think they're going to give a 10-year-old kid a full-on mustache.
Yeah, I know. It's a dream. No, definitely. They should, as far as also customization, I would love to see if you could, like, I know in Omega and Alpha Sapphire, you were allowed to dress up just Pikachu, like the Libre Pikachu. Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I remember in Diamond and Pearl, for the contests, you could dress up your Pokemon. I kind of wish that they had moved forward with that when they brought the contests back in Omega and Sapphire, because I do miss being able to dress up the basically Satan incarnate of Pokemon in frilly bows and bright pink, bandanas and stuff, and make him dance around in the Pokemon contest looking all pretty.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's like one thing in the Pokemon series I think that they definitely need to incorporate, because like in the anime, for example, like whenever you see like Ash with his Pokemon or whoever with their, like it's very identifiable that that's their Pokemon. They have a specific attachment, and of course just because they have personalities and it's a show. But I feel like in the games, let's say it's you versus me, we're both fighting with a Blastoise, they practically look the same, besides the fact that if they're a different gender, maybe they'll have a different different visual appearance to them. Yeah, exactly. So, like, how awesome it would be is not only you can customize for contests, but you can also, like, keep them in specific outfits or clothing, maybe give them a bandana, battle damage scars, or just
Yeah.
just stuff to make your own Pokemon much more customizable. And
That, or even customizing the Pokeball. I mean, having the feature where you could like doodle on the Pokeball and then have it just be that.
that'd be genius.
Yeah.
That'd be
like-
super cool. Yeah, because it right now it's just whatever you catch it with, that's what it'll be forever.
Yeah.
And that'd be really cool. I don't know if they'll incorporate that or even think of that, because that's such a little feature. But that'd be actually pretty interesting to be able to just like for your Squirtle, for example, you just make the top part of the Pokeball actually be his shell pattern or something like that.
Or bubbles, but like I remember seeing in a X and Y when you'd fight the artists on right next to the daycare, all their Pokeballs were all painted on. I'm like, why can't I do that?
Yeah, and that'd be so simple. They could go through it like basically kind of how Animal Crossing does custom patterns.
Yeah.
Make it like a really simple layout just with colors and paintbrushes, and or maybe even incorporate some sort of stamp or preset shapes and stuff like that, so you can craft and make your own designs and stuff. It'd be really interesting.
Again, back to Diamond and Pearl, when you could put the stickers on the Pokeball, and when they'd come out in battle, there'd be, the flashy lights or the stars or whatever you put onto the Pokeball whenever they came out.
Yeah, just totally not only customize the Pokemon itself, but customize its Pokeball and totally make it such more personalized and differentiate itself from just like everyone having the same Squirtle,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all really interesting stuff. So is there any final things you just want to touch on before we wrap this up?
Not really, other than me watching the older movies and realizing they should have had an event for all the cloned Pokemon from the Mewtwo movie.
Oh, that'd be awesome. With the wasn't Charizard like the 3 starters? Didn't they have like that weird like darkish hue paint like splatter on them or something?
Yeah, the stripes.
That'd be really cool. That also goes with the Pokemon customizing. Like, could you like do that to your Pokemon to make them look similar to that, or other veins?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that wraps about up for now. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe because, well, Nintendo
He's awesome.
stuff. Yeah. And do you want to tell people where they can find you at?
You can find me on DeviantArt and browse my art at Sashema@deviantart.com. Or I'm currently running a Tumblr, but it's mostly just stuff that I like. TikTokcat.tumblr.com. And yeah.
Awesome. All right. And again, thanks for watching, and I will catch you later.
Bye.
See ya.